here to share what I've been up to since my first video about the promise, as told by Neville Goddard. And I'm sharing with you today as I think a few of you will find it interesting as it relates to so much of what we hear Neville Goddard, Carl Jung, Eckhart Tolle, and Abraham Hicks, countless others talk about. What has truly captivated me and solidified my belief in the law of assumption or attraction is how dramatically my life has changed over the past year, simply because I believed it could. I had faith and I chose to focus on love rather than fear. And I have focused on what I imagined my life would look like, the good stuff. And I didn't dwell on all the things that made me feel lack or any type of negativity or bad emotion. It wasn't easy at first, but eventually it became a habit. And now it's extremely clear to me that our thoughts really, really do create our own reality. Ever since I found Neville, I ultimately understood the basics of what he was teaching, though it did take me some time to understand what he meant about getting into the feeling. But once I did, I saw my life start changing in new and exciting ways. And since I first posted on this channel, my life has changed dramatically in ways that I can't exactly explain in one video. But to start, I have a kind and genuinely lovely fiance, a beautiful house, and more time, space, and ability to work on the things I love to do, such as painting and this kind of stuff. And the coolest part to me is that the first two happened exactly as I scripted them. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video, the method behind the manifestations. Before I jump into the techniques, it's incredibly important to realize the role of love and faith and how they pretty much go hand in hand with not just each other, but living your dream life. First, you truly do have to have faith in the universe, God, source, or whatever you want to call it, having trust that it's all taken care of and you don't need to do anything but watch it unveil and act when inspired. Additionally, feeling love and gratitude and appreciation and excitement for being in your right now is the baseline before you focus on what you really want. Appreciate what you have around you so the negative nonsense just kind of falls off. And it's only when you shift your focus away from negativity and lack, for example, searching for solutions on the internet about your problem is only going to make your problem grow stronger. So don't do that. Get into the feeling of appreciation and gratitude, and then essentially hallucinate yourself into this idea that you already have what it is you want. And very soon you will have it. The key here is belief that it's already yours and experiencing gratitude and love of life because it's yours. It's not a possibility, it's not a what if, it's a solid belief. It's a solid love for life. Get in this alignment, and any technique that you want will produce exceptional results. But you have to trust yourself and the universe. This stuff is real and it works all the time, so you might as well make it work for you. Okay, so let's get started. Here are two techniques I use to help me get into the feeling of the things I mentioned and eventually help me change my reality. Technique number one is using a ring to get a specific person or a soulmate or a life partner. So in one of his talks, Neville Goddard spoke of this visualization technique and kind of a testimony of a woman who used this technique to secure a husband. And I used a similar technique or a fake ring to get my fiance. So I'm definitely a romantic. I've been searching for love my whole life, and in doing so, it brought me some stress and heartache because I just never really could get it right. And after my divorce in 2020, I took some time to understand Neville's teachings and really try to get to the bottom of what I wanted out of a partner. And I really came to the conclusion that I wanted someone who was my best friend, who I loved deeply, and who felt the same for me. Pretty simple, right? Once I was ready to really be in a relationship and had already crafted my list that I talked about in video 2, I tried Neville's ring technique. So using a combination of making a list of attributes that I wanted in an ideal partner, plus the physical illusion of having a partner by wearing a fake ring, and holding that steadfast belief and feeling that I had already had it, I was able to not just find the perfect partner for me, but get engaged after a solid year together. I talked about him in my last video, and I thought it would be cool to do a follow-up a year later on where that all ended up. Well, we're not only still together, we are thriving together. This man has nailed every quality on my list, and he has been an incredible partner and friend, And he's also taught me just so much and opened my eyes to so much about how easy it is to create your own incredible reality. And I truly believe that he was sent to me through divine intervention. And as I mentioned in my first video, I really did have to let go after using that technique, which is a big part of any technique. It's already yours. The fake ring is interesting to me as I wore it 2 years ago, so the year before I met my now fiance. And it was just off and on for several months, but I wore it everywhere I went, just as I would a real engagement ring. It was moissanite ring, size the equivalent of 2 carats, simple solitaire, cost about $40 on Amazon. And the look of the ring itself wasn't as important as the feeling that it made me have. I'd often find myself like running my thumb or my finger over it and imagining having security in my partner, who was my best friend, an incredible friend. And I'd go shopping with it on, and I'd feel taken if men were around me. It was a good feeling, like, I'm so lucky to have someone at home who's waiting for me. So happy I'm no longer single, right? And doing this for a while living my daily life really did make an impact. It was almost too easy to slip into the fake reality of being married or being engaged. And it worked twofold because practicing this brought positive emotions to me as I would think of the story Neville told and how it worked for the woman. And then I'd think about all the other things that Neville's techniques had brought to me and the things that I had secured in my reality. And I think about how exciting it is that I'm engaged to this really great guy. And this went on for months and months. And then I finally met my current partner. Now I do the same thing, but with an actual engagement ring that was given to me by an actual man who I am thrilled to have found and call my actual fiance. This one is exciting to me because I remember thinking when I heard about it, that's just too easy. Why not try it? And it was pretty easy. I mean, it worked. Of course, I had no idea how it would happen or that this man that I had met a year ago would be the one to give me the ring that represented our forever love or whatever. But it all worked as it should, and it worked out, more importantly, just as I had imagined. And the next technique was scripting on paper and sketching out my desire. And I did this because drawing is something I really love to do, but if you are not an artistic type, no worries, you can just write it down. It'll work just as beautifully. So a year ago, I was living on my own with my kids in a quaint house that was really great at the time. And today I live in pretty much the exact house I scripted on paper a couple years ago using another one of Neville's techniques of writing the story in the now or scripting. Now, I think it's important to mention that the house was a totally separate focus than getting a fiance. I wanted both, of course, but either would have been great. And I didn't spend too much time scripting or thinking about the house. Honestly, I just kind of drew it out, scripted it, and forgot about it. And I was happy in the assumption that it was already mine somewhere in the future or now or whatever. So for example, I wrote something like, I'm so grateful to finally be living in a beautiful home surrounded by trees in an area where my kids can thrive. And I added a few more details to that where I appreciated the amount of windows, the type of floors, the number of rooms, etc. And again, I accompanied it with a sketch, like a bird's eye view, like floor plan type thing. And as I was drawing it, I was imagining that I was talking to a real estate agent or someone that was going to help me get the house, saying, hey, this is where I'd like to have my fiddle leaf fig tree in the front room because it has a lot of, nice light here. Or this is where I'm going to have my painting studio in this room, so I need to have XYZ floor plan. And I just really got into the feeling of it already being mine and that excitement of sketching it out. Okay, so anyway, soon after I met my then boyfriend, now fiance, he bought a house, which is eerily similar to my sketch. And at the time I noted it, and I think I even mentioned it to him as peculiar, but I didn't think too much of it because A, we had just met, B, it was his house, and C, I really was pretty happy where I was, had a good setup of my own. So I wasn't thinking about that at all. But today, I'm thinking about it a lot because I'm now living in that sketch of that beautiful home with my beautiful fiance and our beautiful kids. And that fig tree is right in the front window, thriving. Life is incredible. It's really pretty cool what you can do with the power of your mind. I hope you found this testimony about these techniques helpful. And just as Neville did, I urge you to try it. Just try it. But don't just try a technique out and then go back to doom scrolling about your problem on the internet or whatever it is you're lacking. Remember, you attract what you think most about. So think good thoughts and let the universe figure out the details.